In consumer news, economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny's step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny's step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny's step this year.
As if it was an original story written by a real person.
The mass hunger strike at the Guantanamo Bay Detention Center. But that topic remains off the radar of mainstream news.
They haven't had to do anything productive. They just create money.
Welcome back to the show. It's Radio Free Canada. I'm Darren Howard.
I'm Robert Nisbet.
And I'm Monica Solmark.
Right now we're talking about some amazing things that are happening in the news that are not happening in the news.
Well, you know, they got better things to report.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to know what Justin Bieber was doing.
But we've declared this a Bieber-free zone. We are not here to talk about people who are born rich and running the country into the ground, or the fact that Pope sits on top of a golden throne saying he can't afford to feed the poor. We're talking about mainstream media. Let's start with this.
Do you ever get the feeling that the news anchors on television are just mindless media parrots repeating the same talking points over and over again? Well, if you haven't, you might after seeing this.
In consumer news, economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny's step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny's step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny's step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny's step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny's step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year. Economic factors may take some of the spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting the feeling that economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny's step this year. But seriously, kudos to Conan O'Brien for once again exposing the media repeaters. Look, guys, obviously this is no coincidence. So the question remains, where are all these news stations getting their scripts from? Well, there are affiliate news services that supply packages and scripts to hundreds of stations around the country. Stations then have their anchors read the canned story with the generic script. Now, you might look at this and say it's just indicative of how lazy local news can be. But consider the implications of this kind of reporting for 1 second. Say it wasn't an Easter bunny, and rather the story being mindlessly regurgitated was about a virus, a terrorist attack, or a report on war casualty counts. The bottom line is that people who watch the news tend to trust this information that then influences their perception and decisions. So for these anchors to ask no questions, do no fact-checking, and hold no differing interpretation of the news they're delivering is not only absurd, it's downright dangerous.
I'm liking it because it's just showing them.
That was hilarious.
That's a fairly scathing rebuke of the prostitutes.
Yeah, I know, but they need this scathing rebuke. I mean, Blaine Gaffney should be paying attention to this, and that's the truth. Regurgitating nonsense?
Well, you know, even mainstream reporters may be out of a job if this new technology takes hold.
You want to run this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to blow you away. If you think them regurgitating the same script is weird, corporate media is taking on a new, darker, more Big Brother edge, and we got the story. Stay tuned. Mock and mainstream media, it's our job. Let's run this.
There's a fascinating article today out of the Vancouver Sun entitled Robo Reporter Computer Program Raises Questions About Future of Journalists. And it gets into how Ken Schwenker, the digital editor of the Los Angeles Times, and he's not the only one to have done this, but he's created a computer algorithm, a program that actually allows people to write articles in their sleep. That's right, because they're not actually writing them. It's a computer program that draws together different vocabulary statistics and actually puts together an artificial news article. And this piece out of the Vancouver Sun actually says that some of the Robo Reporter artificially generated stories are already appearing in the Los Angeles Times. The speculation is that mainstream reporters have now become so glib, so predictable, and so used to merely regurgitating what they're told by official sources without questioning it, that they could soon be replaced by Robo Reporters, literally just computer programs that grab different quotes, different bits of data, fit them into a story, and then publish them as if it was an original story written by a real person. The mainstream media has become so compliant, so unquestioning, so castrated, that this is what your evening news could look like in 5 or 10 years' time. This is Paul Joseph Watson reporting for Infowars.com.
So that was run in the Vancouver Sun.
The reporter was, or the report was, yeah.
That is freaky.
Now, and, talking about messing with your head, now they just regurgitate what was coming up before. It just fits in the blanks. It's like power plagiarism.
Wow.
I don't know what to do with this. I'm blown away.
It's amazing what money can buy.
Well, it doesn't say much for the recent graduate journalists coming out of schools these days,
You're
does it?
hooped. Also, take a look at Generation Jobless on the CBC. It'll talk about the fact that they're turning out students all the time. I'm one of them. I got turned out of BCIT, okay, radio and broadcasting course, no jobs.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 90 students in Western Canada every year that get released into the media saying that, there are jobs in the news, and there are no jobs ever.
Mm-mm.
Okay, and also the bar that they're setting, beautiful people with politically correct voices.
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you'll see that right now on Global all the time. It's a younger, more beautiful reporter bringing you more nonsense.
But that's because they're driven by ratings, profit share.
Okay.
Yeah, and ratings, they count.
But they
right?
don't get intellectual, beautiful people like radio or Russia Today.
Or like us.
Yeah, I know. Or like us. Yes. That's a little blatant self-promotion there for you from Radio Free Canada. They're blacking out certain information. I want to jump into this real quick, okay?
This is important and is supremely underreported.
A hunger strike among prisoners at Guantanamo Bay into its 48th day, but their plight still struggling to get wider attention. Their lawyers say more than 100 inmates are now refusing food and are concerned about their deteriorating health. Prison officials continue to downplay the protest, and there's little coverage in the U.S. media. RT's Marina Portnaya reports.
In the world of 24-hour news, no country knows the power of media better than the U.S.
Hard to believe it's been 10 years since the shock and awe campaign that launched the Iraq War.
I believe we could have removed Saddam Hussein in another way that would not have been so damaging to America. I mean, a man had to go.
10 years later, the killing continues in Iraq without end.
Also continuing without end, the mass hunger strike at the Guantanamo Bay Detention Center. But that topic remains off the radar of mainstream news and hidden from the American public.
No, I did not know that.
No, I had no idea.
No. Really?
A top U.S. general is now calling for hundreds of millions of dollars to upgrade the U.S. detention facility.
When CNN finally turned its focus to Gitmo, the so-called worldwide leader in news ignored the hunger strike.
Is there anything wrong with trying to improve it, fix it, spend a few $100 million to get it ready for maybe a new generation of terrorists?
Instead, focusing on the money being requested to update the facility where 166 detainees are still languishing.
Do you know that more than half of the detainees at Guantanamo have been cleared for release?
Are you serious? No, I didn't.
I had no idea of that. Wow.
But in the business of broadcast news, U.S. networks have to prioritize which big stories deserve the most attention.
That's right. The Canadians are using farting to combat smoking.
Nancy Grace, first of all, I want to express my condolences. What happened to your necklace?
If former President Bill Clinton gets his way, actress Ashley Judd will never be a United States senator. Now,
Marina Portnaya, RT, New York.
So is that bang on the money?
That's
that's entertainment, isn't it?
Yes. It's total entertainment, infotainment, or whatever it is. I watched 4.5 minutes on Justin Bieber on CBC News World. Okay, I watch sports talking about concussion. 5.5 minutes on CBC News World. We don't have TSN for that.
Mm-hmm.
But
don't we have a sports network?
Yeah, we do. And
2 of them, actually.
Yeah.
Well, seriously, that's why I stopped watching cable TV back in 2008.
Yeah.
Because even then I could smell the in the air.
Yeah, well, the way that we're trying to combat smoking. Right here, getting the bad odors out of the newsroom right now is being one of the major problems, one of the major reasons why we started up Radio Free Canada.
Well, it's just one more critique of the cable news prostitutes.
Well, as you heard earlier in the show, critics say the mainstream media played a strong role in the United States' decision to invade Iraq, reporting consistently that the Middle Eastern country had weapons of mass destruction. Well, did large media outlets learn from this mistake? Well, the Pew Research Center's State on the News Media report has some alarming findings that show the media has grown even more opinionated since then. Take MSNBC, a network gaining in popularity with its liberal spin. Pew found that MSNBC broadcasts opinion a whopping 85% of the time. But if you watch MSNBC, that should come as no surprise.
We've learned one thing from the last 4 years, and the Republicans will stand on your neck and then stab you in the eye.
We've got a coming collapse if we don't take care of our entitlement programs.
Long,
if we create some confidence,
it's not necessarily even true.
I wish it were a long way off. You know, we used to say
I feel like we're talking about climate change.
I used to be
we are. Oh my God!
The implication is somehow that I would approve of any racism or discrimination, and I don't in any form or fashion.
But isn't being in favor of civil rights but against the Civil Rights Act a little like saying you're against high cholesterol but you're in favor of fried cheese?
By raising the specter of Americans sitting in cafes being struck down by U.S. drones, most people are not concerned about that. It seems crazy. It seems fringe.
So perhaps the takeaway is it's on the audience to always question more.
Honestly, I question because I watch the news, and I used to be a big news fan. I work for CKIQ News, and I believe in it, but...
Well, we do have a local media station here. We don't have a clip on this, so we got to talk about it.
Right.
The day they picked with the endorsement of our mayor.
Oh, my goodness.
They had hundreds of signatures on a petition put out by Sun FM for First International Talk Like Batman Day. Endorsed by our dear mayor, Walter Gray. I couldn't find anybody who was actually participating.
I can tell you what he should be participating in, and that would be not talking like Batman, but maybe solving some poverty issues.
That'd be a thought. That'd be a great start.
We're telling you to start questioning it. Question what you see, but be confident in yourself because you can take the right perspective. You can add your intellect. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Make sure you stick around talking about what homelessness and the major media is ignoring it. Radio Free Canada. I'm Darren Howard.
I'm Robert Nisbet.
I'm Monica Solmark.
15 minutes to make your day, and we're doing it with style. We'll be right back.
Since 1971, when President Nixon took the United States off what was left of the gold standard, the world has operated under a system of money called fiat. The dollar, the pound, the euro are all government fiat currencies. Fiat is a Latin word meaning let it be so. It is the law that this government currency be money. Indeed, without that legal enforcement, and the fact that we must pay taxes in this money, that dollar bill or that computer digit that represents a dollar would be pretty much meaningless. Only the government has the power to issue fiat money, but banks can create it through lending. If somebody wants to borrow $10, a bank can create it from nowhere and lend it. It can then charge interest. Banks also create money by lending against an asset, such as a house. They're given the deeds to the house, and they create the money out of nowhere and lend it, at interest, of course. But who benefits? Of course, those that have the power to issue money, governments and banks. They haven't had to do anything productive, they just create money. However money is created, be it through lending, fractional reserve banking, financial bailouts, or old-fashioned money printing, banks are always at or near the top of the money-issuing pyramid. In reality, this process of creating money only redistributes wealth from the bottom to the top of the pyramid. And thus that ever-increasing gulf between rich and poor gets bigger and bigger and bigger.